Hi, welcome back to this Wednesday edition of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Talking in the opening segment about the fact that with this resurfacing of this sex tape, this Monica Lewinsky sex tape, it may be that it's Anthony Weiner and Huma Abedin who want to distance themselves from Bill and Hillary, lest the contamination from Bill and Hillary slop over, splash up against them and taint his chances to become the next mayor of the city of New York. And then we were talking in the second part of that first segment about the reality. This is a former president of the American Psychological Association, and he says, look, it is myth. It is propaganda. It is total propaganda from the left, from the secular left, that people are born this way. This is just a matter of propaganda. There's no scientific evidence for it. There's no scientific basis for it. We have talked about this before. Researchers have given up looking for the gay gene. You talk to geneticists that know what they're talking about or will be honest with you. They'll say, look, we know that people aren't born this way because otherwise, if people were born this way, if there was a gay gene, if you've got one identical twin who's homosexual, the other would be homosexual 100% of the time. Concordance rate would be 100%. It's not. It's less than 10%, 5% in women and 6% in guys or vice versa. Anyway, down in single digits. That's from research done by researchers at Yale and Columbia, so they got credibility on that. So the concordance rate is very low, which argues very strongly for environmental factors in shaping sexual image and sexual orientation. So geneticists will tell you, look, we know, the identical studies twins prove that people aren't born this way. So anybody that's out there saying people are born this way, they are saying that in defiance of science. They're saying that in defiance of medical science. They're saying that in defiance of biological science. And we believe that we ought to operate in the realm of fact. We ought to operate in the realm of biological truth. We ought to operate in the realm of health truth. We ought to operate in the realm of biological truth. We ought to operate in the realm of genetic truth. We shouldn't operate in this fantasy land, this make-believe world where everything is fabricated and made up and there's no basis for it in reality. And that's where homosexual activists are. They're completely unhinged and unmoored from biological, genetic, medical reality. So it's just all hype. It's all propaganda. And don't take my word for it. This is the former president of the American Psychological Association. Now, this guy is pro-gay. He says gays and lesbians have the right to be affirmed in their sexuality. So he's willing to affirm homosexuality. That's not something I would ever be willing to do. I think it's harmful. I think it's destructive. I think it's immoral. I think it's dangerous. I think it's risky. It's unhealthy. No rational society ever should affirm it, but that's not where he's at. So so that gives you an idea where he's coming from. This guy is not even somebody that gay activists could tag as a bigot. He's on their team. He wants to affirm homosexuality. That's why, as a member of the APA Council of Representatives in 1975, I sponsored the resolution by which the APA stated that homosexuality is not a mental disorder. So he led the charge to get this thing removed as a mental disorder, as a form of mental illness, up until 1973 with the American Psychiatric Association, up till 1975 with the American Psychological Association. This was classified as a mental disorder, as a mental illness, and they were right. They were wrong to change. It is a form of mental illness. There's mental disorder, mental disturbance involved here, but he was the one that led the charge to change that classification in the American Psychological Association. But he says this: contending that all same-sex attraction is immutable is a distortion of reality. It's not based in fact. It's not based in truth. It's not based in science. Attempting to characterize all sexual reorientation therapy as, quote, unethical violates patient choice and gives an outside party a veto over patients' goals for their own treatment. A political agenda shouldn't prevent gays and lesbians who desire to change from making their own decisions. In other words, what he's saying about homosexual activists, they're anti-choice. They claim that they're all about choice, and they're all about liberty, and they're all about freedom, and they're all about self-actualization, and they're all about defining one's own identity, until it comes to somebody who wants to overcome unwanted same-sex attraction. All of a sudden, they don't want those individuals to have any choice whatsoever. They are anti-choice. No, you can't choose. We're not even going to make it legal for you to get help for your unwanted same-sex attraction. So I think that's a pretty profoundly important column. Nicholas Cummings, American Psychological Association. Now let's shift gears again if we can, Rob. I didn't intend to go quite that